Alright, so this is lesson 4, transformations of graphs. Alright, so the learning target is that I can identify the effects of transformations on a graph. Okay, so what this means is that we want to graph any of our normal lines or functions, I should say, and figure out what happens to it when we add things to it. Like our parent function for a parabola, which is that U shape or a quadratic, is x squared. So that means it's just plain x squared. So this is telling me that I want to graph it on my calculator. So y equals, and I'm here, I'm going to type in x squared. Okay, and then it says use the table to graph the function. So then I'm going to go to table. Okay, and this tells me that it is, I can use 0, 0. 1, 1. I can use 2, 4. Okay, and then I could use my other side. -1, 1. -2, 4. Okay, I want to see what that looks like, so I'm going to hit graph. Okay, and we can see it looks just like that. So it's a parabola that starts at 0, 0. Which is called the origin. Okay, that should be review, I hope. Alright, so it looks just like this. So now I want to graph each of the following functions and compare the new graph to the parent function, which is just x squared. Alright, so what happens to it, basically? Alright, so let's plug in the first one. Alright, since I have this graphing calculator, the colored one, I'm going to leave that one in there. I'm going to plug in the next one into y2. So negative x squared is the next function here. It's a. Okay, so I want to hit graph. Okay, so what happened to it? It flipped it, right? My parent function is this blue one, this one right here. And when I put in negative x squared, it flips it upside down. So comparison. So the graph flipped. Okay, I'll accept that. That works. It just tells me that it flipped upside down, or it opened downward, something along those lines. Alright, that's fine. Okay, so for B, I want to see the same thing. I want to see what happens to my regular graph when I add this -3. So I'm going to go back to y equals. Okay, I'm going to clear out what I have in y2. And I'm going to enter in what I have for B. So what happens when I subtract 3? Let's see. So x squared minus 3. Okay, so let's graph them both. Okay, so that's my parent function. That's the main one, just x squared. Okay, and x squared minus 3, what happened? It's the same exact graph, except that it moved down 3 units. Okay, so the graph moved down 3 units. Okay, and that's all I want to do. I want to explain what this does to my parent function, which was x squared. So it moved down 3 units. So if I have a negative here on the outside, x squared minus 3, okay, that's going to shift my graph down 3 units. Okay, so you go ahead and try number 2. What do you think is going to happen if I have this plus 9 there? Alright, go ahead and try that. Alright, I'm going to do number, letter D here. Alright, so my parent function again is x squared, so I'm going to leave it there. Clear that out. Now this one is in parentheses. X minus 1 squared. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and graph it. Okay, so I'll graph my parent function first, which is right there, and then x minus 1. Well, look at that. Now the vertex of my parabola, the bottom of it, what happened to it? It shifted to the right one. So I'm going to say the graph shifted to the right 1 unit. Okay? So what happened here? When it was, let's look back. When it was outside of the parentheses, the minus moved it down. Okay? You guys should have realized from the you try what happens when it was a +9 outside of the parentheses. When it was inside the parentheses, it was -1, and it shifted the graph to the right one. So on this you try, what do you think is going to happen when it's a +3 inside? Okay, think about it. You guys go ahead and try it. Okay, this looks kind of hard to see. Let's see, does this help? Okay, alright, so I'm going to try letter F now. Alright, so I still have my parent function in here. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to clear out the rest. And I'm going to type this in: negative x minus 3 squared minus 2. So now I have a couple things. I have this negative here. Let's think about what happened up here when I had a negative. Alright, I have a -3 inside. What happened when I had a minus inside? And I have a -2, -2 outside. What happened when I had a number adding or subtracting outside? Let's look. Graph. Okay, so I'll graph my parent function so I can look at it. Okay, and then I'm going to graph the second one. Okay, so it flipped down, so I'm going to write that. What happened? It graph flipped downward. Okay, what else happened? It moved to the right 1, 2, 3 units. Moved to the right 3 units. Okay, that was because of this. It was -3 inside, so that moves it to the right. It's opposite, 3 units. And then this -2 is what moved my graph down 2 units. And it moved down 2 units. Okay? Now I'm using the graph right now. You guys, once you get good at this, I can just look at this and I can tell you what's going to happen without using my calculator. I know the negative made it flip. This -3 inside the parentheses moved it to the right 3 units, and the -2 on the outside moved it down. Alright, but you guys probably do some more practice, so why don't you try the next few tries. Alright, and I'm going to flip over to the back. Okay, and this is exactly what I was just saying. So, my parent function is x squared. Okay, so f of x is negative. So I know what happens when I have a negative. Okay, the negative is going to flip the graph downward. Okay, what does a number inside do? If I'm adding 3 and it's inside the parentheses, that's going to shift the graph 3 to the left. Okay, we normally think of plus as going to the right, but this actually inside shifts it to the left. Alright, and what is the 11 on the outside? Since it's plus 11, it shifts the graph, shifts upward 11 units. Okay? So you guys got 3 U tries here to try, and it's always going to use those same rules. Alright, and here, this is the same idea, alright, for these U tries, but I'll give you a little hint. This parent function is an absolute value. The absolute value sign works like parentheses. Alright, so again, if it's -3 inside the parentheses, or sorry, inside the absolute value, it's going to shift the graph 3 to the right. You guys can use your calculator for these though. Make sure you guys try a few of these at home. I'll give you some time in class, but there's a lot of U tries, so I'd like you to give some of them a shot at home for sure. Alright, maybe we can write here a few rules real quick. So a negative in front flips the graph. Oops, graph, what am I doing? Graph. Okay, a plus or minus inside parentheses or absolute value shifts left or right. Okay, and it's the opposite. So if it's plus, it shifts to the left. If it's negative, minus, it shifts to the right. And a plus or minus outside parentheses or absolute value shifts up or down. And it is the same, meaning if it's plus, it goes up. If it's minus, it goes down. Okay, let's put that up here. Plus goes to the left. Minus goes to the right. Okay, and you guys get the hang of it after you graph more. All right, so good luck. Make sure you try a few of these U-tries tonight, and we'll see you guys tomorrow in class.